Yo, welcome back to Fire Water Cooking. I'm Darren, of course, and today I'm going to do something totally different. Like I always say, something I've never done before. I'm going to do some ground bison meatballs, and I'm going to smoke them. And I'm also going to do some calamari, homemade calamari. And they're both from Wild Fork Foods. Some of the things that I've gotten at Wild Fork Foods, of course, are some of the stuff that you don't normally see in your regular grocery store, or they're hard to get. I'll be back, guys.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
All right, guys, so I'm going to get my meatballs started here first. And I'm going to use a little bit of Parmesan, a little bit of seasoned breadcrumbs, and some Fire and Water Cooking black garlic and herb compound butter seasoning. That's going to give us a nice, some nice flavors, herbs, garlic, onion, a little of this, a little of that. You can use whatever seasoning you want. If you want to put more herbs in there, you can. I'm going to go ahead and open up the bison here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get my gloves on here because we're going to be digging into this, mixing this up by hand. And I want to make sure I don't get any, just easier to clean up, less chance of contamination and all that. Put my gloves on. Alright guys, so I got 2 pounds of ground bison. Like I said, it's about 6 or 8 ounces of that brisket fat, chopped up really fine. You don't have to put that in there, like I said, if you don't want to, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to do 2 eggs, and that's going to bind them up. It's going to make sure that they tighten up when they cook. I'm going to put a couple ounces here, about 5 ounces or so of Parmesan cheese. You can use the grated stuff if you want. I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup or so of seasoned breadcrumbs, and then about 2 tablespoons of my black garlic and herb compound butter. And then we're just going to mix it up, guys. Get our hands in there, mix all this stuff up together. Be back when we're putting all these in a ball on a pan. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I'm going to start balling these up now. And you can make these any size you like. I like mine a little bit on the bigger side. And since we got some fat in there, they're going to shrink up just a little bit. They're going to lose moisture and fat. So about that size right there. You can make them any size you want. You can make them smaller, you can make them bigger. Just try to make them kind of uniform. You don't want them to be too much different sizes. I'm going to put mine on a rack here. So what that's going to do is easier for cleanup of the grill, but also let some of that smoke get all around it, because the smoke's going to go underneath it as well as on top of it. Because the pellet grill is a convection fan, the smoke's going to be blowing all around. So I'm going to get the rest of these balled up, and then I'll kick my grill on and we'll get these things in the smoker. And they should be done in about an hour and a half or so. Like I said, they shouldn't take too long to cook because they are kind of small. So, all right, guys, I will see you back when I'm getting that, putting these in the smoker. All right, guys, so this is up over 190 right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put these meatballs on. Like I said, I'll leave them in here about 35, 40 minutes. Then I'm going to take my thermopen and we're going to temp them, see where they're at. And then since they've probably got some good smoke by then, we'll crank that heat up. And then once we get these almost done, we'll start our calamari. All right, guys, so they've been on a little over an hour and a half. I'm going to temp them right at 125 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and start making our calamari. All right, guys, so the smoker hit 325. I just turned my oil on over there on the monument. So the oil is going to be heating up. Should only take it, by the time we get these breaded, that oil should be ready. So what I did, I just got some regular all-purpose flour here, and I put just a little bit of ground pepper in there, probably about 2 teaspoons or so, not a ton. I'm going to put just a little bit of my black garlic and herb compound butter. You don't want to overly season these guys because you want the taste of the calamari to come through. So just use the seasoning sparingly in the flour. I'm going to actually dip these in milk first. I saw this trick on America's Test Kitchen, using milk instead of an egg wash, that the flour will stick to it because of the viscosity, and it makes them really nice and crispy. I also put just a little bit of baking soda in these in this flour to make it a little bit more poofy. So went ahead and mix this stuff up. All right, guys, I'm gonna give it just another second, then we're gonna start putting these in the milk and then the batter, and then we're gonna dry them off. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so this is gonna move kind of fast. So I got my calamari over here. So I got some tentacles. I'm gonna have to pop some of these with the long tentacles. And I got some regular, yeah, some of these have the long tentacles on them. We just gotta pull those off because it'll get in the way. Not all of them do, just a couple. So I got both the tentacles and the cut bodies here. Just gonna pull a couple of these off, guys. All right, guys, so all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna move all these calamaris into the milk. Now they come in frozen from Wild Fork in water. And I tried to drain as much of that water off as possible. So I'm just going to move them all from the water into this milk. And then we're just going to start battering them up and putting them on this pan over here. Shouldn't take much longer. Try to get all these out. Cool, and I'm just going to start moving them. Try to drain as much of that milk off as possible. And then just start plopping them in the milk or the flour. I'm just going to move them in the flour, coat them really good. That's why I wear gloves, because it makes it a lot easier for cleanup and actually handling this stuff. So once you put them in there, they get coated really, really fast and really easy. Just kind of toss them on your pan. Use a pan with a rack just so that it'll get some of that flour off. It doesn't clump up on it. Trying to make sure that you don't bring a lot of that milk over into the flour, because it will leave you with clumps of flour in here. So that's it, guys. I'm just going to finish up doing these, and then I'll see you when we're putting them on. Like I said, I'm just going to toss them on here, and we should be fine. I'll try to do a couple more batches. I'll be back. All right, guys, my oil is just now over 350. See, yeah, it's a little bit over that now. It's about 400. I got to turn that down a little bit. So we're going to do this in batches. My meatballs are done. They're just kind of sitting there in the smoker with the smoker off. waiting for these to be done. So I'm going to go ahead and start dropping these calamari in. And when I drop them in, I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. Like I said, I'm going to cook this in batches, but I'm going to make sure most of that flour is off of there. And I'm just going to start dropping these in. And I'm going to move them around. Make sure they don't clump together. Now these only need to cook for about 3 minutes each for each batch. As soon as they get nice and golden brown, you need to take them out. All we're doing is flash frying these. So you want to keep your eye on them. Just keep moving them around so they don't get all clumped together. And this batch is almost done. Like I said, about 3 minutes each batch. If you cook them too long, they'll get chewy. As soon as they start turning really good golden brown is when you want to take them out. I suggest using a bigger pan like this, like a chicken fryer, so you can have room to move them around and they're not all clumped together for sure. Alright guys, I'm going to start getting these out. I'm putting them in my bowl. It's lined with paper towel. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting those out, and then I'll be back when we're doing a taste test. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead try a couple of these meatballs and some of this calamari. Let me get another one. I'm trying to keep these warm on the smoker. Got a couple of them there. They got nice smoke to them. These are still hot coming out of the fryer. And check this out. Get that calamari. Nice and crispy. I already had a couple, so I know it's right. So check it out, guys. That's the smoked bison meatballs and calamari from Wild Fork. Definitely something I will do again. I'm going to open up one of these meatballs just so you can see. It's cooked all the way through. Good smoke flavor. That beef fat sure helped with the juiciness. You can see it's juicy. Very good, guys. Check that out. Check out that bison. Here's the calamari. Really crunchy. Not chewy at all. 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes at 350 in the fryer. That's the secret. Check it out. Check out Wild Fork, guys. They carry a lot of good stuff. Calamari, bison, all kinds of stuff. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Check out Fire and Water Cooking Edible Creations right below. And I'll see you on the next Fire and Water Cooking video.